So I'd like to welcome everybody back to the Tefillah Shiur after we left off quite a few weeks ago after the bracha of Hanoisen Layav Kayach. We took a little bit of a break just to get back my own Kayach from my voice, and Baruch Hashem we're able now to continue with the Tefillah Shiur at the end of the Birchos HaShachar. Baruch Atah Hashem, the last bracha, Elokeinu melech haolam, Hama'avir Shaina me'einoi, that Hashem removes sleep me'einoi, from my eyes, usnuma me'afapai. Snuma is also a lashon of sleep, a lashon of slumber, me'afapai, from my eyelids. And this is the last bracha, and as we'll see, the Vihira Tzemel Fanecha is a continuation of this bracha. But what's the taich of the beginning of the bracha? So most of the brachas are patterned after psukim, and this one as well is patterned after a pasuk in Mishlei, in Kapitel Vav, pasuk Dalet, where the pasuk says, Al titein sheina le'einecha usnuma le'afapecha, where Shlomo HaMelech tells us, don't give sleep to your eyes and don't give slumber to your eyelids. In other words, as the Mefarshim say, the Metzudas David, that Shlomo HaMelech is saying, don't be so lazy, don't get too much sleep, don't waste your days with too much sleep. But what's exactly the difference between Shaina and Senuma? Both of them are lashon of sleep. So the Malbim says in that pasuk in Mishlei that Shaina means Shaina Kavua. It's a sleeping for a long time. And Tenuma is Derech Aroi, a shorter nap, a short sleep. So when we talk about Shaina and Tenuma in the same pasuk, the Shaina is the longer sleep and Tenuma is a shorter sleep. But if you look at the Pirush Hagra, the Vilna Gaon in Mishlei, on that pasuk in Parak Vav pasuk Daled, he says that there's also a qualitative difference between Shaina and Tenuma. It's not just that Shaina is for a long time and Tenuma is for a short time, but Shaina is a deep sleep. When a person is in a deep sleep overnight, that is called Shaina. But when someone is in the state of sleep, when he dozes off, that's called Tenuma. The Gemara in a number of places, among them Psachim Daf Kuf Chaf Amid Beis, the Gemara says, what is Misnamneim? Misnamneim with the lashon of Tenuma is Nim v'loy Nim, Tir v'loy Tir. Someone who's in and out, he's dozing off. If you call him, he'll pop up and he'll wake up. Like sometimes during a long, boring speech, someone will be Misnamneim. Usually, hopefully, it's not a Shaina Kavua, but he's like falling a little bit asleep. And then if you call him, he'll wake up, or if he falls into an uncomfortable position, so he'll pop up. That's the difference between Shaina and Tenuma. And if that's the case, that's why it's associated with eyelids. In other words, we're talking about a lighter sleep, a more superficial, a chitzoniistic sleep. That's the lashon of slumber, the lashon of Tenuma. And Mamela, the pasuk in Mishlei, is explained according to the Malbim and the Vilna Gaon in a derech of loizu afzu. Not only this, but even that. Al titein sheina leinecha, don't waste your whole day with sheina. And even usnuma lafapecha, even if it's just dozing off, it's not a deep sleep. That also, you should not be struggling the whole day to, fight dozing off. You get your sleep when you're supposed to get your sleep, and then you should be awake to learn and to accomplish the rest of the day. So when we thank Hashem, we give Shavach V'Haidah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu at the end of the Birchos HaShachar. What we mean to say is that Hashem is Mavir Sheina Me'einoi. He takes away our long sleep, our deep sleep from our eyes. And not only that, but also Usunuma Me'afapai. He takes away our slumber from our eyelids, that light sleep, that temporary sleep, in order to make us be totally awake to be able to face the day and accomplish in a new day in our lives. And then right away with a Vav HaChibur we say Vihira Tzemel Fanecha, and it should be the will in front of you, Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Aviseinu. And then we ask for a number of different things. But why is Vihira Tzemel Fanecha said with a Vav HaChibur? So the Tur in Siman Mem Vav says because it's a hemshech of the bracha. It's really one bracha. It's not two different brachas, the bracha of Hama'avir Shaina, and then Yehira Tzayin, a long bracha that ends off with Baruch Atah Hashem, Hagemel Chasadim Tevim L'Amo Yisrael. It's really all connected in one bracha, similar to what we had in, that's in Siman Mem Vav, similar to what we've quoted in Siman Mem Zayin about Birchos HaTorah, where we say the bracha of Lasik B'divrei Seira, and then we say V'harevna, that with the Vav HaChibur, because it's a continuation, we treat it in the halacha as one bracha. And because this is one bracha, it says in Shulchan Aruch, in Siman Mem Vav, Sif Aleph, Ein Lanois Amein, Achar Hama'avir Sheina Me'einoi. Ad sheyachtem hagoyim chasadim tovim lama Yisrael shakol bracha achasi. You're not supposed to say amen at this point, and if someone's saying the Birchos HaShachar out loud, they usually make sure not to end off this bracha by me'af apoy out loud in order not to be machshel the tzibur, to be able to say amen at that point, because amen does not belong here. This is really the middle of the bracha. So that's the halacha of it. First of all, that you don't say amen. Secondly, that it has the vav hachibur, but the machshava behind it is a little unclear. Why are these things connected? L'chayr, we're thanking Hashem for a number of different things. And the final thing that we're mentioning, that we thank Hashem, is that He woke us up totally. Ma v'sheina me'enoi, usnuma me'af hapai. And now we're ready to face the day. And now we have a bakasha. The bakasha is a davar nifrod. It's a separate thing that we say that it should be the will in front of you, Hashem, shetargileinu b'sayrasecha, v'dabekenu mitzvaysecha, etc. All the different things that we ask Hashem. Why is that considered halachically like one bracha? And for this, I want to share what it says in the Siddur called Isha Yisrael, in the Pirush of the Siach Yitzchak, which is of course the Talmud of the Vilna Gaon. He says a very big yisoid in Avodas Hashem, and he says Hakol hoylech achar hahaschala. Everything depends on the beginning. If you get the day started on the right foot, hoylech u'mischazek mala mala. A person then goes from one good thing to the next throughout the entire day. He says also the opposite. If you start off on the wrong foot, so then the day just deteriorates, and a person ends up with a wasted day, with an unsuccessful day. Memela, he says, when we thank Hashem for waking us up from the deep sleep, waking us up from the dozing off, now we're ready to face the day, we're totally awake. So right now, we start making plans for the day. So what do? With the Vav HaChibur, with the connection in the same bracha, we ask Hashem that we should get the day started off on the right foot. We ask that it should be a good haschala. And we ask that it should be a day full of accomplishment, to be ragel in Torah, to be davik in mitzvahs, to be davik to the Yetzer Tov, and to have all these good things, the chavera, the adam ra, the harchikeinu me adam ra, or me chavera, the abikeinu be Yetzer Tov, as we'll explain each expression, each phrase when we get to it. But the idea is that asking Hashem for a good haschal of the day, that there should be a day full of accomplishment, full of ruchnias, that's not a separate thing, it's not a separate inyan to the thanking Hashem for waking up. We understand that right away when we wake up, we want to get the day started on the right foot spiritually, that we want to have an accomplishing day. So right away in the same bracha, we say, it should be the will of Hashem that I shouldn't just spend the day being awake, but once I'm awake, I should accomplish from the very beginning of the day, and that should set the tone. The haschala toiva should set the tone to go mala to accomplish throughout the entire day. And of course, whenever we make a bakasha from Hashem, often we say the nusach Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Aviseinu, and we've quoted a number of times in the past from the Avodram, the Talmud of the Tur, and the Avodram's Pirush is right here in this nusach in the Birchos HaShachar, where he says, "Beroiv hatfilos anu mazkirim schus avos." When we say that Hashem is our God, we also say Elokei Aviseinu. Why do we have to mention that so many times? Because we want to be ma'ir schus avos. Especially now, we have so many bakashas that we want to ask Hashem that He gives us an accomplishing day. Targileinu b'sayrasecha, v'dabekenu mitzvaysecha. So we need all the schusim possible. So therefore, we say that Hashem is our God and the God of our fathers, of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And in the schus of the avos, He will help the banim to have a great accomplishing ruchniistic day. So we'll start tonight with the first expression that is in this bracha. We'll save the hemshech for a different night. But tonight I want to focus on shetargileinu b'sayrasecha v'dabekenu b'mitzvaysecha. We ask Hashem to make us ragil, to make us accustomed to learning Torah, and v'dabekenu b'mitzvaysecha, to attach us to His mitzvahs. So what's the pshat shetargileinu b'sayrasecha? Of course, we want siyata d'shmaya to learn, to accomplish in our learning, to be koine our learning. But what's the pshat that we should be ragil in learning? What's the pshat in this nusach? And I found a gevaldige letter, a beautiful letter that Reb Shmuel Auerbach Zatzal, the son of Reb Shlomo Zalman, writes in honor of the sefer that they put out with the psakim of his father called Halicha Shlomo. So there's a number of volumes on Halicha Shlomo, but the chelik on Tefillah on page Shin Samach Gimel, at least in the print that I have, is a letter that Reb Shmuel Auerbach writes about the Yesodis of Tefillah, and he compares Torah and Tefillah, and he says mamish very Yesodistic Zachen about Libur Torah and about the Avodas HaTefillah. And he says, in Iker Gadol v'Kinyan HaTorah, an Iker Gadol, to be Koine in Torah, is al yedei hachazara v'hashinun. When you chazer over and over everything that you learned. Gam b'li shenisvasef hachidush. Even if there's nothing chadash, you don't come up with a new kasha or a new teretz, just chazering over the ideas that you know, chazering over the Gemara that you learned. When we're talking about kinyan and Torah, being rugil in the Torah, being not just accustomed to learning, but making a hergel in the words of the learning and chazering it over, even without chidushei Torah, that itself is so chaviv to a person, and that itself makes the kinyan HaTorah. I was zeicha to see recently, someone showed me a video that Rav Eliashiv's grandson took of him sitting and learning. It's like a 40-minute video. You have to fast forward certain parts, so you sit there for 40 minutes, being Mavatal Torah, watching someone learn. But it wasn't Bittul Torah, because Lamaisa, it was a Gavaldige Chizuk. I was able to hear in his words what daf he was learning, and I took out a Gemara, and I felt like I was learning with Rav Eliashiv. He sings it, he says the words out loud, but to watch his Amelis when he didn't know that there was a video on him, that's clear. And he was sitting and learning b'mesikus with a niggin, but over and over. He was in his upper 90s. This was in Tafshin Samach Vav, so it's not that long ago. And he was learning things that I'm sure he learned tens, if not hundreds of times. He's learning Gemara and Chulin, and he was just learning it over and over again. The Chazara, the Shiurim that Reb Shmuel Auerbach is talking about, that's what makes godless Torah, and that's what the minig of the Gedolim. So he says that's pshat when we say in the Tefillah, Shatar Gileinu b'Seir Esacha. He's mitzayin this nusach that we're doing now, that the idea of rugil doesn't just mean that Hashem should help me be rugil to learn, that I should learn a lot of hours, but I should be rugil in the Torah, that I should have the seichel and the ability to be able to chazer over, to be rugil in Torah. He said what's interesting is that by tefillah it's not like that. Hergel in tefillah is not good. Adarab, every tefillah is a new tefillah, you have new kavanas, and a new avodas tefillah, like he brings from the Nefesh HaChaim, that there's no two tefillahs from Sheishis Mei Bereshis that are exactly the same. Every tefillah accomplishes different things. Even the same person davening Shachas Mincha Ma'ariv on a Gevissa day, it accomplished three totally different things. It's not the hergel and tefillah is not a good thing. Adarab, every tefillah has to have kavanah, every tefillah has to have HaShachar. And he says L'Davoinenu that L'Maisa today it's the exact opposite. When people are learning Chazara, they think it's very boring. It's very challenging for a person to just chazer over. Everyone wants to learn a new Gemara and hear a new Chiddush. And in Tefillah, everyone just wants to go say the same Tefillah and not have new Kavanas. But he said, really, the Avodah is fakert, that the Tefillah should have Chidushim, the Tefillah should have new Machshavas, the Tefillah should have new Kavanas. But the Torah, over and over again, that's the Targileinu b'Seir Esacha. So when we daven every day that Hashem should be margil us in Torah, it's not just that we should be accustomed to learning and comfortable with our learning, but also that Hashem should give us the siyata d'shmaya to make a kinyan in Torah, to be murgal in the Torah, to chazer things over and make a kinyan in our learning. And v'dabekenu b'mitzvah Yisecha means that we should be zeicha, not just to be mekayim the mitzvahs. Of course, we should have the ability to mekayim the mitzvahs, but we should be davuk, we should cling to the mitzvahs, we should be connected and attached to the mitzvahs. We should do them with feeling and geschmack. We know the Tana Devei Eliyahu was written by the Amoyer of Anon, who learned with Eliyahu Hanavi, as the Gemara relates in Ksubas Tav Kuv Vav Amud Aleph. So in the Tana Devei Eliyahu Rabbah Perach Tes, he says there that Eliyahu Hanavi said to Rav Anon, Yasa Adam Mitzvah Yisrael Shal HaTorah B'Simcha. It's not enough to do the mitzvahs of Torah, but you have to do it with a happiness, with a dveikus. Your leiv nefesh has to be attached to the mitzvah. And the emes is that it's mafurish in the Torah. And Parshas Kisavai, when it says about the Toichecha, in Parachav Ches, Pasuk Mem Zayin, it says the Toichecha comes, Tachas asher lo yavata es Hashem alekecha besimcha v'tuv leivav, me'raiv kol, which means that even if you do the mitzvahs, but if you didn't do it besimcha u'v'tuv leivav, then that deserves the Toichecha. So we see that the idea of doing mitzvahs is not enough to do the Maisa mitzvah, but it's with a dveikus, the dabkeinu b'mitzvah Yisecha. In the Sefer HaCharedim, his Hakdama, he says that the Arizal once revealed L'Ish Soidai, to someone who he shared secrets with, that his great Chachma and his Ruach HaKodesh was attained B'schar Shahaya Sameach Ba'asiyas Kol Mitzvah Simcha Gedoyla Le'in Tachlis. The Arizal credited his levels of Chachma and Ruach HaKodesh to his Simcha Shal Mitzvah. And the Mishnah Berurah in Siman Tafresh Samach Tes, which is in Hilchas Simchas Torah, Sivkat and Yud Aleph, says Heidu Ala Arizal, they testified about the Arizal, that he said that the great Maila that he he reached in Ruchnius was because he was misameach b'chol oiz b'simcha shal mitzvah. And Reb Chaim Kanievsky Shlita in his Sefer Archas Yosher Simcha of Zayin says that it's clear that the makar of the Mishnah Berurah is this Sefer Charedim, that the Mishnah Berurah brings Heidu al Arizal. He means this hakdama to the Sefer Charedim, that the Arizal himself was megala leish soidoi, that the madregas that he got in Torah and Chachma and Ruach HaKodesh was because he did mitzvahs b'simcha. So that's very important in the beginning of the day to have this kavanah as we're asking Hashem to start our day off on the right foot, so that we could go higher and higher throughout the entire day in avodas Hashem. That it should be the ratzon of Hashem shetagilenu b'seiresecha. We should be ruggle in the Torah to chazer it, to make a kinyan on it. That it should be ruggle in our mouths and in our hearts. V'dabekenu b'mitzvaysecha, the mitzvahs that we do, we should be davuk in the mitzvahs. We should be connected to the mitzvahs. And what does it mean when we ask Hashem that we should do this? L'chayra, we have bechira to be ruggle in Torah, to chazer. We have bechira to be davuk in the mitzvahs. So what does it mean we're asking Hashem to do this? So again, we turn to the Avodram, and the Avodram deals with this right over here and says, Va'af al pi shahatoy v'hara misurim biyara adam. We have bechira to do it, so why are we asking Hashem for it? Hu mispalel Hashem l'sayoy. There's a concept of davening to Hashem to help us. That's what we call siyata d'shmaya, help from Shemayim, help from Hashem. So that you're allowed to ask Hashem that He should put you in the right place at the right time to get the right chizuk and the right chaverim, the right rabbeim, the right atmosphere, that you'll be able to learn to be ruggle in Torah, you'll be able to be inspired to be davik in mitzvahs. So even though the effort has to come from us, but we daven to Hashem for siyata d'shmaya, and we'll end with the Chavetz Chaim. The Chavetz Chaim in Parshas Kiseitze says that whenever you ask Hashem for all these types of things that you want siyata d'shmaya for, we have to remember that the siyata d'shmaya is not going to come unless we ourselves do the hishtadlus. When we ask Hashem nitzar l'shoini meira, so then you have to stay away from the crowd that's speaking lashon hara, or else Hashem says, listen, I tried to help you, but you didn't help yourself. When you ask Hashem, v'hoireinu b'seiresecha, says the Chavetz Chaim, you can't ask Hashem to enlighten your eyes in Torah and then you never open up a book all day. And so how can I enlighten your eyes in Torah? So it's the combination of these two things. It's the hishtadlus that we put ourselves into it when we want to ask Hashem shetagilenu b'seiresecha. We have to organize our schedule in a way that will have built-in chazaras, that you'll make a kinyan on what you learn. And when we ask Hashem v'dabekenu b'mitzvaysecha, we have to work on building that connection and that attachment to the mitzvahs. And a great way to do that is to learn the halachas of the mitzvahs, to learn the halachas of every mitzvah b'shaita as it comes up throughout the year, to learn the halachas of Tefillah, the halachas of Shabbos, on Sukkot time to learn the halachas of Arba Minim, to feel connected to the mitzvahs through the limud halacha, and of course through learning the inyanim and understanding the oimik of the mitzvahs. But that is our effort, and after we do that effort, we turn to Hashem and ask for siyata d'shmaya, lasis toivu l'hisrachik min hara, targilenu b'seiresecha v'dabekenu b'mitzvaysecha. That's how we start our bracha over here, and the hemshech of it is all continuous good things, as we said from the Siach Yitzchak, that we're asking Hashem to have this haschala taiva, the start of the day, and that will hopefully bring a hemshech to a good day full of accomplishment and ruchnias in all areas.